What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Bullies on Broad podcast, presented to you by Bullies on Broad. My name is Steven, and I'm your host for the evening, and I'm alongside my two line mates, one of them being Jake. Say what's up.
I just stubbed my toe, but what's up?
And another one being Mr. Hot Take himself, Austin. Say what's going on.
Disclaimer for this episode, I'm going to try to keep my hot takes a little dialed back. I know some of mine were a little controversial or too hot to handle, but we're going to dial them back this episode.
Yep, too hot to handle. And speaking of episodes, you guys should probably go check out episode 1 of our podcast. We went over basically everything about the JVR signing, free agency, the Flyers top 6, the power play, and a lot more, and a lot of spicy hot takes. The takes are pretty hot on that episode. Do you guys agree?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they were a little extreme. But anyway, enough with that. If you guys want to go listen to that, it's up on our SoundCloud and our YouTube, and soon to be Google Play and our iTunes. But anyway, let's get into this episode. So we have a lot in store today. Today's episode is basically going to be around the prospects, and we have some viewer questions that you guys asked over on our Twitter at Bullies on Broad. You guys can follow us over there, keep up to date with everything about us, and you can also ask us questions in our pinned tweet, and we will answer them on the show. So that's coming in a little bit later tonight. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff in store for you guys tonight, a lot about prospects. That's mainly what this show is going to be about, and then our next show could be more looking towards the next season for the Flyers, but this show has a lot of stuff about next season too, but we'll have to get into that. So let's just go with a big one right out of the boat here, and we're going to go over some prospect rankings. This is going to be pretty fun, guys.
Obviously, going into this season, we came up with a list that I think everyone can agree on, and obviously at the top of this list, going into the 2018-2019 season, that the number one prospect is obviously Jori Lehtera. You guys agree?
You're old.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm sure everyone at home listening, I think they'll agree with that. I guess I can get in number 2. We got Dale Weiss. No, I'm just kidding, guys. All right, let's get into the actual list that we've come up with. We kind of all made a list. It's like a top 10. Do you guys want to go from 1 to 10 or from 10 to 1 and save the surprise for last? I think we should do that.
10.
All right.
It's kind of obvious who number 1 is, but let's just do 10 to 1.
We're going to go from 10 to 1. So at number 10, we have Matthew Strome. What do you guys think about him?
I guess I have to go first. I always go first. Anyway, out of the Strome brothers, I mean, he's just as undersized as them. I mean, that's just how they're built. I feel like they all play the same, so I can't really decipher which one is going to be better or worse, or who's going to be more talented. But I mean, it's a Strome brother, right? They're all talented. They all are really good. So let's just hope he picked the right Strome.
Yeah, it's obviously a family that has a bloodline of hockey, and I'm hoping he could play like his brothers or even better. And that's why we have him at the bottom of the list. There's a lot of unknown going into this prospect with Strome, but hoping for the best, and I think he can be a decent player down the road.
Yeah, with Strome, it's pretty interesting because I think he's a pretty good player, and he's naturally gifted and just offensive talent, kind of like the rest of his family. Dylan hasn't really showed it at the NHL level. I don't even know if he didn't get that many games in, but the Strome brothers so far in the NHL at least have not been anything too spectacular. But I think if Matt can work on his skating a little bit, well, a lot of bit, but I think if he can get better skating, that he can definitely be a good player in his team, third or fourth line down the future. For number 10, it was pretty tough to choose between Strome and Shushko because obviously he tore it up at the World Juniors this year. But I think that with the right skating, the right coaching, that they can both end up being pretty solid players. Maybe comparing to someone like a Michael Raffl. Do you guys agree with that?
Mike Raffl? I think he's a little too big, or he's too small to be like a Mike Raffl.
Yeah, definitely, because Michael Raffl was able to use his body to create separation, where I don't know if Strome's going to be able to do that.
With his body.
However, I'm still, like I said, hoping for the best with him, especially if he could work on his skating. I think that'll definitely help making the jump into the NHL, possibly.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping he could work on his skating too, but go ahead, Jay, what's up?
I don't know why it just popped into my head. Maybe like a Mike Richards, kind of?
Yeah, I mean, he could be good.
Because
He could play
Richards.
like him. I just don't think he'll put up the points like Richards did.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying body wise, and like Austin said, creating space for him. Like Richard was good with his hands, but he wasn't like naturally like known for his hands.
You
And
know,
he's the same size as Strome.
okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, definitely not talent wise, but yeah, I could see maybe the play style a little bit, but I feel like Strome could be a good goal scorer. But anyway, let's not spend too much time talking about Strome. Let's just go. So let's move on to number 9 in our list. Number 9, this is really tough to do because I myself was very high on him, and just a bunch of unfortunate events, and it sucks. I mean, during the preseason, he made that beautiful pass to Wayne Simmons against the Bruins. If he's out there on the ice, if anyone's skating near him, he just has to wave his stick in their direction, and they're going to be skating away. By all of that, I'm sure you guys know who this is. A lot of injuries and unfortunate luck. At number 9, we have Samuel Morin, and it just sucks because I really had a lot of upside on him and a lot of hope in him, but I don't think he will see NHL action this year, which was originally the plan. That was the plan to have him up this year, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know about next year, but if he's not up by next year, I mean, he might be in the minors forever. Hopefully we trade him somewhere because he's running out of time, I would say. I know he's young, but it's just so many injuries and so many question marks about him, and I'm hoping that he can be what we all think and wish he could be, but we've just yet to see that. And yeah, I mean, I hope we see him, but I guess we'll find out in a year. What do you guys think?
Hear me out. Hextall said specifically February he will be ready to be played. Right? He said February.
Okay.
This is the perfect time for a team like the Flyers going into the playoffs. It's not like, how should I put this? They're not going to the playoffs at that time, but it's like building up for it. So it gives more in time if we necessarily need him, wink, wink, that he plays a month of hockey under his belt and then he's ready for the playoffs.
I understand what you're saying. I hope so, but honestly, out of Sanheim, Moore, and Myers, if 2 of them are on a team by that time this year, that's all I'm really asking for. I don't think 3 of them will be, but Austin, what do you think about this?
Yeah, definitely agree with you, Steven. And one of the guys I was so excited for going into last season, and especially that pass to Simmons where he danced around 3 defenders, and even his like heavy shot from the point that I wouldn't want to stand in front of, and I don't think a goalie's going to stop. He's just a force to be reckoned with, and it's gonna suck that if he doesn't make the team. And I'm sure he would be a lot higher on this list, or not even be on this list, and he would already be on the team. But I hope everything goes okay with his recovery, because I really would love to see him on a Flyers Stanley Cup team. But like, that just doesn't look too ideal right now.
It's a little awkward.
Yeah, no. I hope it happens. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I do hope that happens. I mean, I hope anybody's on a Flyers Stanley Cup team. But anyway, let's go on number 8 on this list. German Rubstov. All I really have to say is that he's Russian, so that's kind of self-explanatory. You guys can go into more depth because you guys know a lot more about the player.
I am by far, if I see any comments about my germ, I will personally reply and comment to you to stop making fun of my child. Any type of vulgar or disgusting comments, I will come for you and find you.
Well, what I'm hoping happens is German comes for the NHL, because at least right now, I'm not as high on him as I was when we drafted him. I'm kind of hoping that he can pan out to be something decent, but as it looks, he could be a 3rd or 4th line center, which, hey, I mean, people may think that's bad and I'm dissing him, but I'm not. I mean, the Flyers got Couturier, they got Patrick, they got Frost. You throw Rubstov on the 4th line in 2 to 3 years from now, I mean, that 4th line could be out of this world. I mean, the Flyers are going to have so much depth in such little time. It's going to be crazy. What are your takes on Rubstov, Austin?
Well, you figure a lot of people thought Sean Couturier was only going to be a 3rd-line center, and then look at the year he just had. But, yeah, he had a little bit of a shaky year this past year after his draft. but I don't know. I think he has a lot of upside, especially with the center core right now. Like you just said, if we have him as a fourth line center, like that's going to be a very good center to just be at the fourth line.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. We do have center's always been a problem. I mean, well, everything's left wing's been a problem, center's been a problem, defense has been a problem, goalie's been a problem. But that's all slowly but surely starting to change, thanks to Ron Hextall's master plan, which, in fact, we will be getting in, diving deeper into his master plan a little bit deeper into this episode. But from Rubstov, let's move on to number 7, who, before I say him, well, actually, I'll just say him, Jay O'Brien. And now, when we drafted him, if you guys watched the draft live on NBCSN, if you're from the U.S., Pierre Maguire, I mean, I don't know what that was, but I guess he's in love with the kid, and that's good because, I mean, as weird as Pierre is, he does know his hockey and he loves the game, and I respect him for that. I mean, he is a very weird human being, but I respect the love for the game because I'm in love with the game too, and so are all of us in here at Bullies on Broad. But yeah, basically what Pierre said was, of all the players, his choice for a player to sneak out of the second round would be Jay O'Brien, that he's very happy about the player, he has a very high upside, and that he, talking about how Jay O'Brien in 2 to 3 years will be in the NHL and will be a very, very good player. And I have something to say about him. I'm going to say it a little bit later in the show, but yeah, I really do. I do like the O'Brien pick. After watching the highlights, it was a great pick at the time. I honestly wanted Dominic Bach, but I am a lot happier with Jay O'Brien. I just don't think he had the exposure for playing in high school, but I definitely think that where's he? He's playing in. Nah, he's playing up in Massachusetts. I'm pretty sure this year. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with the pick, and I really think it's gonna pay off for the Flyers in the long run.
I knew nothing about him.
Yeah,
I
no.
literally knew nothing. But watching him at the dev camp, at our dev camp, in our 3-on-3 tournament, dude was shredding ice. Like he was like the little, what are the snow cone people? You know what I'm talking about? They shaved the ice, they put it in a snow cone.
Oh,
He was
wow.
like one of those guys.
Yeah, and just for clarification, O'Brien is going to Providence this year, and he's going to play against Farabee, who's going to BU, Boston University. He's going to play, I think it's like 4 times, so that's going to be good. Some little friendly games against each other. Speaking of friendly games, and Farabee, if you guys follow Strome on Instagram, it's pretty funny. Farabee, every time Strome makes a post, Farabee just goes after him. I think today called like Boxhead or something. I don't know. It's pretty funny. You guys should go check it out. But Austin, got any words on O'Brien?
Not too much, but just like the fact that you said about Pierre being excited about someone, and the last person he was excited about was Nolan Patrick, and look how good Nolan Patrick was.
Yeah.
So someone to look out for going forward.
Him, look at how good Konechny was when he got like that. It is really something to look forward to. Ron Hextall, I mean, his scouting staff, I honestly, we're top 3 in the league. I mean, we're spoiled with that. I look at trading up to get Konechny in late 20s, or early 20s, but still, the fact that he fell that far is insane. Morgan Frost, I did not know a thing about him. Didn't even know he existed last year. I thought we were going to draft Eli Tolvanen, and we took Morgan Frost, and I was like, who is this kid? Month later, probably my favorite prospect besides Carter Hart. And this year, I think, including playoff games, I think he had 144 points. Don't quote me on that. But, yeah, so O'Brien, he potted 80 points in 30 games. Yes, it's in high school, but that's out of this level. You have to be a really good hockey player to average over 2 points a game. So I'm really excited for him. It may be a while till he's here, but there's other kids who, as we go down the list, will be here before him to fill in his spot, and once he gets here, it'll just put us over the top. But moving on from that, at our number 6 spot, who personally I'm very excited for, he's big, he has hands, he could put the puck in the net, Isaac Ratcliffe. Yeah, basically, he could be Simmons' replacement if we ever trade him. I mean, the guy's just an animal. The way he could skate and turn and just his puck skills, it's like he has a puck on a string. This dude can dangle in a telephone booth. So yeah, I really I'm pretty high on him. I'm not saying I think he's going to be a 60, 70 point scorer, but I really do think that he will help this team, and he's one of the types of players that we're going to need, especially if we trade Simmons. Go ahead, Jake, take it away.
I thought Ratcliffe has skating problems. Like he was really big, but couldn't skate
No, he's
that well.
big. He could skate. The problem is, even though he's a big body, I think he gets knocked off the puck a lot in like the board battles,
Okay, because
corner
I thought
battles.
that was one of his biggest issues when we went into camp
Yeah,
last year.
no, well,
Was
at Def Camp this year, I mean, the videos I saw and everything, he looked like a tremendous skater, so I don't really have
oh,
to
okay.
worry.
So do you think he improved on that like
I
over the
think he
season?
did. Yeah, I really think he
Okay.
did. Wasn't like Konechny and I swear someone said something about Konechny skating, which blew my mind when we drafted him. Same with Lindblom, but yeah, no, I think Ratcliffe. I mean, he's big. You can't really expect a guy like that to be as fast as a Konechny or a Giroux, but
Well, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, if he's big, he could skate and he has hands and he has a really good shot. I'm happy with that. Austin, what do you think about him?
Yeah, I'd like to compare him to a guy like honestly like Eric Lindros, just a big force on the wing. Obviously, Eric wasn't a winger, but a big force who can make plays like he can is gonna be unstoppable in the NHL. I mean, obviously, the NHL is gearing more towards like faster competition, but if you have a big guy like that, he's still going to be able to open up the other two offensive players on the ice.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, and I'm very excited. I mean, everybody on this list has a great chance, but to make the NHL, make an impact for our team. But now we're really getting in. We're getting to number 5, so we're getting into the players who will make our team eventually at some point, and will be making a very big impact. So number 5, this is a guy who I've wanted since February. Joel Farabee. I've wanted him since February. You can go check my Twitter and everything. I mean, around when I thought we'd be picking from the 40 or 10 to 20 range, I really fell in love with Farabee's game, his playmaking ability, and the fact that he can make a beautiful pass and has a great hockey IQ, but can also put the puck in the back of the net. It just makes you fall in love with a player like that who can go out and make a disgusting pass, but also make a snipe and maybe dangle somebody. Yeah, I'm really, really, really high on this kid, and I'm so glad that we drafted him. I think the only player that I would have like drafted over him was Oliver Wahlstrom if he would have somehow fell to us. That's the only player would have been okay with us taking over Farabee, but I'm so glad we got him. Yeah, that may have been the most hype I've been this season about something the Flyers did. Actually, no, never mind. James Van Riemsdyk.
I was about
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
say.
so yeah, what do you guys think about Farabee?
I don't know how many times I heard it that Steven said, dude, look, I really want Joel Farabee. Oh my God, Joel Farabee. We can even go Dominic Block at 19. But look, one of them came out, and the weird thing is I said to him, I said, aren't you glad we got Farabee? And he was like, yeah, but dude, we almost got Wallstrom. I was like, oh my God, this kid's never complacent. But I honestly knew nothing about him, too. He plays for USA, right? He played for our junior team.
USHL.
I watched his highlights that draft night. Oh my God. Kid's going to be a stud. Maybe not this year, maybe not even next year, but I definitely see him sometime in the future.
Well, sorry, Austin, but just to go off that topic of saying maybe not this year, maybe not next year. Yeah, I agree with that. And if he's not here for a while, that's fine. I mean, we got more players on this list that are on the way and can make the team soon. I'll go over Vorbeyev. Lindblom could be here for a full season. Eventually, maybe Frost. I mean, there's a lot of players that we can have to fill in that role. So even if he's not here for 2 years, 3 years, that doesn't really bother me because we have so many young kids on the way. We're going to be having 1, 2, 3 rookies on the team every year. And every year our team's just going to get better. So even if he's not here for 2 or 3 years, by that time I think we'll be making some pretty deep playoff runs. But sorry for cutting you off, Austin. Go ahead.
That's all right. I'm used to it at this point. No, but yeah, I said in the last episode that our left wing position is already stacked with Giroux and Van Riemsdyk, and I know he's only 18 or only 17 right now, but if you even added him to our left wing depth, it's kind of scary how good our team can be in a couple of years. And like I said, that 5-year plan with Ron Hextall, like our left wing, our entire team is just going to be stacked, and he's going to be a pretty big part of it, I believe.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm really scared for the expansion draft for that Seattle team to see who we lose, but I'm not too worried about it
Ooh.
because I know Hexie will work his magic somehow, like he always does. But moving on, number 4. I think this may be one of the most underrated prospects, not only on our team but in the entire NHL. From the University of Michigan, Wade Allison. The guy, there's not more you can say about him
No,
besides he's
no,
a
it's
pure goal
Western
scorer.
Michigan.
Western Michigan, are you sure?
Western Michigan Bronco.
My bad, but yeah, I mean, all you need to know about him is he can put the puck in the back of the net. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it. He's a pure goal scorer. He's here to score goals. He will be here to score goals. Maybe we won't see him this year, maybe not next year, but when he gets here, he's probably gonna be. Who do you guys think the last sniper we had on our team was? Like just pure
Oh my
sniper.
God, maybe Jeff Carter.
Yeah, I mean he
Yeah, honestly, that's close.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
I would think Carter.
I don't know. It's gonna be really fun. I mean, I can go over combinations in my head and lines that he could be on all night. I mean, can you imagine just Jake feeding him cross ice passes and him just talking it bar
Oh
down?
my God.
I can only imagine. And right now it's a dream, but give it 2 or 3 years, and yeah, we'll probably be seeing that in the Eastern Conference Finals. But go ahead. What's your guys' take on Wade Allison?
Um, I don't know how I found out about it, honestly. I was just looking up funny hockey logos, and Western Michigan popped up because the horse. I don't know. It was a Bronco. It's a Bronco. And under their depth list on Google, it was like Wade Allison. I was like, hmm. And then said he was drafted by the Flyers. I knew nothing about him, honestly. I didn't know he got drafted by the Flyers. Looked at his highlights. Kid can pop the puck. Oh my God. It's complete filth how he does it. Like the precision and the speed and just accuracy. I'm excited. I just hope it's not just me being too overexcited about something.
Yeah, 15 goals in 22 games played last year for Western Michigan. He's already 6 foot, 205, 205 pounds. I mean, he looks like he's going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with in the NHL. And like you said, just seeing him pot goals in the Eastern Conference Final, like I feel like we're honestly not too far off from that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do believe the Flyers are a lot closer than people give them credit for. Philly sports fans are very impatient. The Eagles won a Super Bowl. I myself am not an Eagles fan. I'm actually don't hate me for that. I'm not a fan of any other team of any other sport. I only care about the Flyers and hockey. So, but yeah, they're really not too far off. I really think that they'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals within the next 2-3 years. I mean, obviously I can't predict the future, but I mean their team just gets better and better and better and better every year. They got some playoff experience this year. Players like Provorov said that he couldn't sleep at night going into the playoffs, but it's not going to be like that. 'Cause he played in the playoffs. He played against the best team, the best playoff team at the time, and yeah, it's not going to be like that for much longer. He knows what it's like now. He knows what the building's like, what the electricity's like, what the pressure's like. So they're getting used to it. The kids will continue to come up and get used to it, and this team's not as far off as people think. Some people, there's a lot of negative fans because they haven't. Well, the team hasn't had this good of a prospect pool since I've ever even been alive. I mean, it's insane what Ron Hextall's done. I mean, he can have my firstborn baby. Like, it's just insane what this kid done. I mean, or kid, well, Ron's done. But I mean, I might just name my kid after him, my first kid. I'm just gonna name him Ron. But yeah, he's done an amazing job, and this team with the JVR signing, we're close, guys. Hextall's not going to come out and say it, but they're really close. And if they win a playoff series or two this year, don't act shocked because they have the team to and they're good enough. But let's move on. We are now at number 3, so we're in the top 3 here, and I'm just gonna say his name, Phil Myers. Now, what was it? Was it 2016 or 2015? The one Flyers camp. He came in. He previously went to a Flames camp. He went undrafted. The Flames didn't think he was good enough. Came to our camp and absolutely just kicked the doors down. Like, he just came in here and he was just too good. We couldn't let him go away. He was just way too good. Watched him in the World Juniors even 2 years ago, 1 year ago. I mean, the kid's a stud. He's a great defenseman. He's right-handed defenseman, which to have a skilled right-handed defenseman in the NHL in today's game, I mean, this is probably the most valuable asset in the league. And he could score, he could play defense. I don't even know if I consider him offensive or defensive. I mean, he could be a two-way. But he does have that offensive side of his game, like Gostisbehere, Provorov, Sanheim. I mean, they all have offensive sides, which is good, but they can also play defense, as you know, by Provorov. And I just can't even imagine a pairing of if it was like Myers and Provorov or Myers and Sanheim. I mean, it's just countless opportunities of what our defensive pairings could be, and I'm really excited for it.
How would you let a guy go with the name Felipe?
Felipe.
How do you do that? Anyway, besides that, the one thing that worries me is the injuries, because I felt like every time he was back healthy, like some minor injury would just happen to him.
It worries me, but not as bad as Morin.
Well, yeah, but like he gets these little knick-knack injuries, and they do add up. They pile on. Like the body's not a solid piece of gold. It does get tainted and damaged. So, yeah, go Austin.
Yeah, mentioning Sam Morin, that's like the perfect example. I honestly think Phil Myers is the person the defenseman I've like been most excited about since like Sam Morin, and the way he plays, like 6'5", like he's gonna be another guy who's a big force on the ice, and the fact that he could score is kind of unstoppable, and another guy who I think can be up much sooner than people think.
Another thing that I think that can come much sooner than people think is over on Twitter, guys. I think someone should go back and count how many times Austin has said force so far through the episode and a half that we've went through. But yeah, I'm really excited for our defense. I think it's going to be great. Just countless opportunities, countless pairings, penalty kill, power plays. It's unbelievable, because teams never looked like so bright. I mean, you got Toronto, like people think they're going to be some god powerhouse team, but really, I mean, they lost Bozak, they lost Komarov, they lost JVR. I mean, they lost probably 40, 50 goals combined there. And yeah, Tavares is a big equation. I'm not saying they're going to be bad, but all I'm saying is the Flyers will have depth, and it takes more than just good centers to be a winning hockey team. But anyway, let's move on to number 2. This is almost a no-brainer, as number 1 is. Number 2, Morgan Frost. Stay frosty, my friends. He's coming. I hope he's up this year. I don't know. I mean, I think he's good enough. He definitely has the skill set, but the way Hextalls talk is a question. But I do have faith that he will blow the doors down at camp and make the team, but I'm not counting on it. I mean, I hope it happens, but that just remains to be seen, and I guess we'll find out in September. Yeah, so what do you guys think about Morgan Frost and his chances of making a team next year?
I think what Ron Hextall is notorious for is going off the board, besides going like Patrick or trading up for connecting.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer pick.
Yeah, they're no-brainers. But, like, you know, we went Rubtsov, which was way off the board, like you said. And then we go after this little spark plug of Morgan Frost, who ends up leading the OHL in points, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't have any doubt in Ron Hextall and his assessment of prospects, because every time, you know, draft night comes, we have this person in our head who we want, and it's never who we want, but it's what Ron Hextall knows is what's best for this team. He sees something that we don't, obviously. We're not there those countless hours. So I'm excited. I mean, I really want Frost to make the team this year, which I doubt, but we'll see.
I mean, there's a reason we have him the highest rated forward or defensive prospect on this list. The kid could score, and he scores a countless amount of goals, just as countless as the amount of times that Steven smacks his lips together. But yeah, he's going to put the puck in the net, and I'd love to see him on the team as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to have him on the team too. Yeah, in all seriousness though, I think he will be here soon enough, and I mean, I hope he blows the doors down to camp, but I'm not counting on it. But I think that he's actually a really underrated prospect. I mean, he didn't even get invited to the World Juniors last year for Team Canada. He has an invite to the summer camp this year, and hopefully he can make the World Juniors team, so around Christmas time we could be watching him. But number 1, this one's a no-brainer. I mean, everyone knows who this is. King Carter Hart. Absolute beauty. I mean, he's a man missile. If you guys follow him on Instagram, just the guy's
Oh,
built.
man,
He's an absolute unit. Um, yeah, no, I mean he's the goalie. He's the future Team Canada. He's the future of the Flyers. He's the future of the NHL. There's nothing else you could say about it. Flyers got an absolute gem of a pick back in 2016. Heart for heart, 2020. That is my hot take. It's not even a hot take because it's gonna happen.
It's
But
not a hot take.
yeah, so he'll be here soon. The goaltending problems will be gone. All the fake fans will be coming back saying that he's a bust because he's not, and he's gonna take the league by storm. There is a big difference between professional hockey and the WHL, but he's been the best WHL goalie in history, best CHL goalie in history. So yeah, he'll be here soon, and I already have a blank jersey sitting here waiting just to see what number he picks because I'm ready. He's here, he's coming, guys. He'll be here soon, and he's going to take over the league by storm. And I'm really thinking that his rookie year he's gonna walk away with a 0.00 goals against average. But
Hot take.
yeah, there's not much to really say about Hart, but you guys can expand on it. But go ahead.
If this guy does not pick the number 69, I will sell all my jerseys. The number fits him perfectly. Yeah, I don't know how else. I want to correct myself. The last video I said he played in the CHL, and I knew he played in the Western Hockey League. I don't know why I said CHL, but I'm sorry, Carter. I hope you don't shun me. That's all I have to say.
No, I think there's not a whole lot to say. He's really good, obviously, with all the goalies of the month and then the rookie of the month and then the rookie of the year. Like it's a no-brainer that he's going to be really good, and another guy that obviously that I think all Flyers fans should be excited for.
Yeah, not even Flyers fans, but the Team Canada fans. I mean, I hate to say it, but I wanted them to win the World Juniors this year just because, I mean, Carter Hart, are you kidding me? Like, I want him to get that winning experience because he's going to be winning a lot in Philly. But, yeah, if you guys are new to the Flyers or anything, you don't know much about Carter Hart, there's not really much we can explain. Just go YouTube him. You'll see who he is and why everyone's so hype about him because he's the goalie of the future of the National Hockey League. But that was a prospect rankings. Took a bit longer than I thought it would for us to get over that. But to move on from that, continuing on the topic of prospects, we're going to go over what prospects do you guys think will make the team this year. In my personal opinion, you got Vorboyov. I don't know if you want to consider Sandhammer a prospect. If you do consider him a prospect, he'll be up here 100%. Myers should be up here. Even if he's a call-up, he'll be up here. Carter Hart may get a game or two in. Don't be shocked, but I'm not counting on it. And Morgan Frost, I hope he can kick down the doors at training camp. I really hope it happens. I don't think it will. I mean, I think he can kick down the doors. I just don't think Hextall will rush him up. But what do you guys think on who can make a team? Why can they make it? Just go ahead and go into detail on that.
This is going to ruin my hot take, but I guess I'll say it. So, hot take for me right now, German Rupsov will make this team before the trade deadline.
Wow.
He will make the team before trade deadline. He will be the 4C.
Wow.
Please don't click off the podcast, guys.
Whoa.
All right, I'm gonna.
He's been here for how long? Why he's been pedigree?
He has,
he's
but
ready.
he hasn't really. I mean, he's been hurt last year. Didn't really play.
All right, well, the Germ is here to infect the Flyers organization. He's making it, baby.
I hope so, man. But
All right, I'm gonna go a little more realistic and say that I think the fact that the Flyers only went out and got Folin for the defensive side, and we obviously, unfortunately, lost Brandon Manning. I think Phil Myers is as close to a lock as possible, along with Sanheim. And then I think on offense, either Vorbayoff or Morgan Frost on the fourth line. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, I'm sure.
Also, if you count Lyon a prospect, I think going back to the last video, he might be the backup goalie, him or Stolarz.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think at least 3 will make the team. Maybe they won't be here for the whole year. Maybe someone will get called up. I kind of have a feeling that Myers will be a call up at some point. I mean, maybe he'll start here to team like Morin did and be a healthy scratch. I'm not too sure how confident I am in Hack and Hexy deciding to start with 2 rookies on defense opening night in Vegas, but we'll see. I mean, I'd love to see it, but I don't know if they had that much confidence in them or how they feel about them, but I'd love it. I have my money on Sanheim making an opening night and Myers eventually being here. I know Sanheim's not technically a prospect, but he's been up and down the whole season this year. He was never really a lock, and he's still not a lock. But I think of all the players that he will be the lock this year, and I think Myers is close behind him. But moving on from that, we can go over we'll go over the Phantoms since we're on that topic, kinda. The Phantoms, they have 3 goalies that are under contract on our team this year. Actually, they might have no. Tokarski, is Tokarski still on the I don't think he is. It's
Is he still on our team?
They have Lyon, they have Stolars, and they have Hart, who will all be playing for them this year. Hextalls said that they're allowed to do that, but that's pretty interesting. Who do you guys think is going to be starting? Do you think maybe they'll let them all 3 of them play, or will one be up in the press box, or one get traded? What do you guys think?
I think opening day, I think Stolars gets the nod, which makes no sense, but I think it's still his team, even though Lyon played exceptional for them last year. Even coming up for the Flyers, he played well. But I think down the road, it's going to go Stolars, Lyon, Hart, then Lyon, Stolars, Hart, then Lyon, Hart, Stolars, and then Hart, Lyon, Stolars by the end of the season.
I think between Stolars and Lyon, one of those two is going to be on the main roster to start. That's what I'm going to stick with. And then I'm going to say whichever one is still in the AHL is going to sit the bench behind Carter Hart starting.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, me and all the Flyers fans, we want to see what Carter Hart's all about. We want to see how he can perform at the pro level. So, yeah, we all do want him to be starting at least some point this year, because if he's not, that's not the greatest sign. But, yeah, I'm excited to see how it turns out. It's definitely going to be interesting throughout the whole year to see who would get the nod if one of Elliott or Neuwirth goes down, which is bound to happen, knock on wood. But, I mean, they're just injury-prone. They're made of glass. Not Elliott as much as Neuwirth, but we'll see. But, yeah, I really do hope Carter Hart eventually he's the man down in Lehigh Valley, and hopefully he can lead to be the man in Philadelphia. Moving on from that, still staying on the topic of prospects, though, but also the current Flyers. Let's move on to Ron Hextall's master plan, okay? So, Hextall had this plan ever since he came here 4 years ago. It was basically hoard up prospects, hoard up picks, don't trade anything useful, and basically take on teams' cap dumps to add more picks and prospects, while also losing some players that aren't part of the plan for the future, and also signing players to very safe contracts, 1-2 year deals, because obviously the past couple years they were never in a win now position. I mean, Boyd Gordon, if you really thought that they were going to win with that team, you're crazy. He just took him off for a 1 year contract just to fill in the gap until the kids got here. Those gaps will be filled now through the drafts and through our team, through our system of players that he's drafted. But yeah, his plan has always been don't trade anything, kind of build up and build up and build up, and eventually just create this powerhouse of a team that we'll be seeing in the coming years. And I agree with this plan. I'm glad he hasn't traded anybody and made splash at the deadline, because realistically it would have been a waste and we would have just been losing those trades big time just to win for a month or two. But he's building a team that's going to be ready to win for maybe 8 to 10 years. They're going to have a pretty wide window and a lot of chances to make some noise in the playoffs. So what do you guys think? What's your take on Hexy's plan?
I think one of the things that comes along with Hexy's plan is a huge word: patience. Patience is the most important word out of all of this.
Patience is something a lot of people don't have, but I trust Hexy. I trust it. But yeah, there's a lot of people with no patience who don't think it'll pay off, which is fine. Like, then just, you don't have to watch. We're not forcing you to, but I'm telling you,
right.
Yeah, once it starts paying off, then please don't come back, because you're the worst type of fan. But continue.
I mean, that's really it. I mean, Hextall preached it. He said we're going to build from the youth up.
Well,
he preached it.
The fact that he signed James Van Riemsdyk, like, kind of just shows, like, hey, I mean, he hasn't done that at all. Which him doing that, he wouldn't do that for our team 2 years ago. where our
Well, of
second
course
line had
not.
like Ryan White on it. Like he wouldn't
Right.
be doing that. Like now he's like, okay, this team is good enough to win. They've showed it. They put up a mini fight against the Penguins. Besides like Game 1 and Game 3, and maybe Game 4, I think too. But yeah, he thinks that I think we're ready to start making a push. Within the 5 years JVR will be here. I mean, we'll be already be a dominant team, and not just Eastern Conference, but NHL. I mean, Hart will be here. All of our kids we're talking about now, they'll all be up on the team by that time. So yeah, his master plan is starting to pay off, and yeah, the plan the parade sooner than later.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking at our prospect pool from like 10 years ago, and the fact that JVR was our top prospect and there was literally nothing else. It shows that Hextall had a vision. Like I'm guessing before he even got into Philly, especially involving James Van Riemsdyk. So obviously, he always had his eyes on him, always had his eyes on the future, and knew what he was going to do with Philadelphia as soon as he got here. And then eventually, Van Riemsdyk became a free agent, went after him. Now that the Flyers team had a decent year, made the playoffs, and they have a few draft picks that are settling right now in the minors and that are going to be up pretty soon to play with. And I think he's got a pretty good hold on this team.
I mean, he's just gone steal after steal from the draft, and it's insane how every year he can go in there and finesse the rest of the league. But yeah, I really like his plan. People who don't trust him, I mean, he won 2 cups out in LA. He built that team. He built the Los Angeles Kings, and just like he's building the Flyers, they're going to come from out of nowhere. They're going to surprise a lot of people that aren't Flyers fans, and they're going to be a really dominant team in this league for a very long time. But enough with us talking. How about we let you guys talk? So we tweeted on Twitter after our first podcast episode, just to let you guys get involved in the show. We're going to do this for every single podcast. So we asked you guys to send us some questions over on Twitter, and we would talk about them. They can be hot takes, they can be questions, anything you want us to talk about in the show. You go on Twitter and you ask us about it. So if you want to be able to do that and you want to be able to participate in the show, go over on Twitter, go to the @ type in Bullies on Broad. You will see a pinned tweet that says, word for word, ask your questions for our next podcast episode for us to talk about them. So basically, just go to the pinned tweet and tweet anything you want, and we'll like it, we'll talk about it on our next episode, and you guys could be featured, get a mini shout out. Yeah. But before we get into those, we actually had a troll trying to mess with us. It was pretty funny though.
Wow.
You know, we'll go over it. We're not going to say much about it. But a Ranger fan tweeted at us saying, "Who is the most overhyped team? In my opinion, it is the Flyers. I don't think Carter Hart is as good as he is. They have no offensive depth." A young, inexperienced decor plus Andrew McDonald, which I agree with that part, the McDonald part, but
Wait a second.
and no farm system or offensive depth. And then he says, "Sorry if you're a fan, don't hate." Okay, buddy, so you're gonna come to a Flyers podcast and tell us not to hate. That makes sense. But yeah, no, I mean you could tell a guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's fine. Just trying to mess with us. But I just thought it was pretty funny because on the guy's Twitter, he says the Rangers are going to be in the Cup in a couple years. I don't see that happening. The only thing I can see in the near future is Hank in a nursing home. But anyway, that was just a little bit of fun, a little laugh for us. But all right, so let's move on to the actual fan questions. So, are you guys ready for this one?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. So this first question comes from Cole Painter at Cole Painter.
Shout out.
Yep,
Gonna tear it up in wrestling at American University. Proud of him.
There you
Looking
go.
forward and wishing the best of luck to him.
Yeah, so his question was, with the crazy situation that's happening up in Ottawa right now, would you like to see Hextall make a move for Erik Karlsson if the price is right? Obviously, Erik Karlsson is the best defenseman in the National Hockey League right now, and he probably will be for a couple years. But in my personal opinion, I mean, yeah, he's a great defenseman, but I'm not... Me, personally, I'm not down to give up the assets. I mean, they're going to want maybe Ghost, Provorov, Konechny, maybe Patrick. They're going to want so much of our plan, and it's not worth it for one player. I'd rather have 4 really, really good players who are putting up around 50 points a year plus than have one Erik Karlsson. What do you guys think about that question?
I think I agree You're saying I'd rather have four really, really, really good players than one great player. I mean, and I feel like it would spoil the whole plan we put together. Like we waited all this time, and we're kind of gonna ship them away like they're chopped liver. Like I don't know. I don't see it. I would rather keep the situation right. I love Barrett Carlson as a player, but I don't think it's realistic. I'm not okay with giving up our important assets.
Yeah, obviously the Flyers have a little bit of cap to play with, but like there's so much that the Flyers would have to give up in that situation. Even though Ottawa's like a very confusing franchise right now, and they might not even know what that Carlson is worth. But yeah, I don't really want to see the trade happen. Obviously, I'd love to see Carlson in a Flyers uniform, but I don't. And I don't think a lot of people realize how much we would have to give up for a guy like Carlson to come here. And I honestly don't think the Flyers need him right now.
Well, for the
Ooh,
Flyers
hot
to
take.
for them to take on Carlson, they'd also have to take on Cherry Hill native Bobby Ryan, which he has an awful contract. So, yeah, I'm not
Yeah, it's
okay
really
with that.
bad.
We're probably gonna have to be paying at least $20 million for the both of them, which is insane. We still got to re-sign Simmons. I mean, it's not gonna happen. I mean, it'd be great to see Eric Carlson as a Flyer, but I mean, I know you got to give up some good players to get a great player, but I'm not willing to do it because I feel like having the good players we have now is a lot better than having one great player. But let's move on to our next question. This one comes by at jmart9400 over on Twitter. He said, "Thoughts on the goal song situation?" My opinion, go replay the podcast. Go to the 000. Go to just right where the podcast starts and listen to Dupe. I mean, I want us to bring back Dupe. It brings back a lot of playoff run memories. I'm not really sure what they'll do. I wasn't a huge fan of it this year, but the years before that, it wasn't that bad. I liked them actually. I liked the Rocky one, and I liked the one
Secrets.
what DJ MDZ made. Yeah, I like that one
Oh
too.
my god.
But yeah, I mean, what do you guys want them to do? What do you think they'll do?
I don't know. They always come out and do something different every year. But I would love to go back to dupe. That's all I have to say. I just want to dupe.
Little unpopular opinion. I really liked "Light 'Em Up" when the Flyers had the whole like clutch time run by "My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark" by Fall Out Boy. I just thought it was a really cool goal song because it made a lot of sense. Like they scored, so light 'em up. And I really like for me as a fan, when the Flyers score a goal or when any team scores a goal that I'm in attendance for, I kind of like songs that have sing-alongs with them. Like, I'm not going to say I like Chelsea Dagger, but the concept of singing along after a goal,
Boo.
I get hype over that kind of stuff. And I just like to see something. I definitely don't want to see techno again. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I'd like to say more towards the rock region, but like, also, I wouldn't mind if there's like a little bit of Philly influence in our goal song, a little Meek Mill. I don't know.
Oh.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Y'all thought I was finished?
Oh no.
Yeah, so I think one thing I would like them to change though. I mean, I know we all love our free chicken sandwiches when the Flyers score 4 goals, but I'd love them to change from the chicken dance back to the hot, hot, hot song.
Oh, I loved that.
I mean, every time I hear that song, radio or anything, I just think of Wayne Simmons' hat trick against the Rangers in Game 6 in 2014.
I was there.
Every single
I was
time.
there.
But yeah, I mean, I would like them to go back to that instead of the chicken dance because, I mean, that's how you get laughed at. But anyway, let's move on. So, next 2 questions actually are from at eburns40 over on Twitter. The first question is, do you see Carter Hart winning a Vezina? And I'm going to go very in-depth on this one. Yes.
Oof. Very good.
So, what do you think, Jake? What do you think, Austin?
I'm gonna go really in depth with this one. Yes.
I guess that goes to me, and I guess I'm going to stick with the in-depth thing, but maybe go a little more in-depth, and I'm going to say, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think he will. I think he'll win a Vezina, he'll win a Conn Smythe maybe, and probably a Stanley Cup. Not a big deal.
Yeah, you know.
But,
knock on wood.
Next question is by the same guy at eburns40 over on Twitter. When do you see the Flyers becoming a true contender? And that's a very good question, actually, and we're going to be talking about that a lot more in more episodes. But right now,
keep it brief.
I think they're good. I think they're good right now. I mean, they're good enough where there's no excuse for them to not be a playoff team. If they're not a playoff team, it's absolutely pathetic. Like, I'm not one of those fans who comes at the team or like says like they're like, I understand. I go into the seasons realistically knowing like this last season, I knew we weren't beating the Penguins. No, everyone should have known that. I mean, they just weren't good enough. But this year with JVR, with a couple young guys coming up, a couple losing some dead weight, they're good enough to make the playoffs. There is no excuse. I don't care how good the Metro is. They should, and they probably will be a playoff team this year. If they aren't, it's pathetic. It's embarrassing if they're not. But to continue, yeah, I think they should be good this year. They'll be a good team this year. They'll surprise people. They'll be a really good team in the East that people are scared of. A true contender, well, I think that they can contend as soon as next year, but if you're talking about a true contender, probably when Carter Hart's here in 2, maybe 3 years. I'm going to stick with 2, though. I think that's when this team takes the jump. I mean, this season, well, this past season, I'm going to say they were mediocre. I mean, they were a little bit above average, but I think that this season they're taking the jump from the above average to the good category, and I think in maybe 2 years, when Carter Hart's here, they take the jump from the good to great, to a great team that has all the pieces built to contend for a Stanley Cup, and, I mean, they should be able to win one. But that's what I think. But it could be a lot sooner, honestly. I would put my money on if 2 years, if it's over-under, I would say under. I mean, I really think that it's going to be sooner than later. But go ahead, Jake.
All right, I'm going to go back to my yearbook. So my high school yearbook, I said the Flyers will win the Cup in 2021, and that's all I have to say. 2021, they will win the Cup.
All right, well, I'm going to disagree there, and I'm going to say I'm going to kind of agree with Steven saying that it's a little sooner than that. Shout out to his PlayStation name, I guess. No, but the fact that they went out and got JVR, the fact that they still have the same core, and that same core is going to be a little healthier, especially with like Nolan Patrick and Wayne Simmons, and hopefully a healthy Elliott. A lot of the points that I brought up in the first podcast, which if you didn't listen to, go give it a listen. But yeah, I think next year they honestly could be a contender.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you. I mean, just because I think they're going to be good this year, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, man. They lost 10 in a row last year and went right to the Cup, so. I mean, my bad. I wish. They lost 10 in a row and went right to the playoffs. So no one saw that coming. No one saw them lose 10 in a row. They're the most shaky team. And I mean, last season that was a roller coaster of emotions. Right when you think they're good, they're bad. Right when you think they're bad, they're good. I mean, you don't know what this team's gonna do. But if I had a bet on them either really like exceeding their expectations or for them to like not hit their ceiling of what they should be, I'm gonna go with them like blowing right by the expectations and being a lot better than anyone thinks. I think that's more likely to happen than them being a lot worse than everybody thinks. So, honestly, they could be contenders this year if things go right and they don't go wrong. But who knows? I'm not betting on that. But definitely next season, I could see them becoming a team who's ready to start contending. And when Carter Hart gets here and gets experience, I mean, they're going to be scary. They're going to be a team that not a lot of teams are going to want to play. I mean, I don't care how good you are. You could be Tampa. You could be Toronto. We're going to put up a fight against them. Even this year we will. And to keep going with the questions, this next question is from @DarkShadow684 on Twitter. This is going to be the last question that we have for the fans part today, but make sure you guys go over to our Twitter and comment questions because we're going to need some for the next episode. You guys could be featured on the show. Say a hot take, say anything you want, anything that involves the Flyers or the NHL, and we'll talk about it. But the question is to compare the roster from 3 years ago until now. And it's funny because every time I seem to do this, I'll go over a player and I'll be like, oh, he existed? Like, yeah, I completely forgot about him. And, I mean, 3 years ago was when Hextall basically first got here. And once we go over this, it is insane to see the progress that this team has made and just how much better they are. I mean, it's mind-blowing how, I'm not going to say bad, but, I mean, the roster was like, I just can't believe, I mean, the team's come really far in 2 years. It's satisfying, to say the least. It's just, it's like wow, like I'm shocked about it because we have the deepest prospect pool in the NHL, which we did not have. If you would have said that 2 or 3 years ago, I would have laughed at you. But with the deepest prospect pool, our roster now, like we're ready to win. And 2 or 3 years ago, I mean, I was just happy to if we possibly got into a playoff spot. But yeah, the roster 2 to 3 years ago, so we will go over that. I mean, they had Ryan White, Sam Gagne. Okay, they had Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Let's
Love
keep
me,
going.
Belsey.
Yeah, you did love them. They had Braden Shen, Jake Voracek, Shane Gostisbehere, Sean Couturier, Michael
Rob
Raffle,
Zepp.
Matt Reed, Mark Streit, Scott Lawton, Ryan White, Sam Gagne, Radko Gudas, Chris Vandevelde, Michael Del Zotto. Here's one of those players I said you might forget about: Evgeny Medvedev, Nick Cousins, R.J. Umberger, Nick Schultz, Andrew McDonald, Brandon Manning, Luke Shen, Colin McDonald, Vincent LeCavier, Michael Neuwirth, Jordan Wheel, Taylor Lear, and Steve Mason. And if you want me to be honest, I looked up the wrong roster. So this is from 2 years ago, but same difference. I mean, this team is... I can't believe they made the playoffs. They exceeded expectations that year. So the fact that they can make the playoffs with that team, I mean, that's impressive. But our team now is so much better now. We actually have depth now. We have scoring depth. We have good defensemen. I mean, our only good defenseman back then was Shane Gostisbehere, and it was his rookie year. So, yeah, I mean...
Honestly, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate there to like people saying how much we've improved. If you paid attention there, you'll still hear the names Giroux, Voracek, and Simmons. And like I know a lot of like the older fan bases, a lot of people like to say, hey, we still have the same core as we did back then. Why weren't we a bigger contender then? Like, why haven't we made the push yet? And I understand that, but like the support and cast really makes a difference on a team.
Yeah, the core back then, they did have the same core, and the core was good, but they didn't have the right pieces around them. They didn't have the missing pieces to the puzzle, but the missing pieces of the puzzle have been slowly filling in, and the puzzle's almost complete, guys. Give it a year or two, and the puzzle will be complete, and yeah, we'll completely forget about all that pain and misery and suffering. It's going to be well worth it, and you can trust me on that one. Jake, what do you think about that team we had? I mean, it's almost laughable how far we've come because that is just turning a team who should not even be sniffing the playoffs into now Hextall has a team who's their two first lines. In my opinion, they have the best top six in the NHL. If you go look on Twitter, I saw a post the other day. Stats showing that they have the best top six in the NHL right now. It's pretty crazy to go from that to this. What do you think, Jake?
I actually looked up the 2015 roster.
Okay.
Would you like to hear it?
Let's hear that one. I looked up the 2015-16.
All right, Mike Knuble.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Brandon Manning, Braden Coburn, MDZ, Evgeny Medvedev, Ryan White, Oliver Lauritsen.
Oh, my Lord.
Claude Giroux, Mike Raffle, Jason LaBarbera, Rob Zepp, Zach Ronaldo, Nick Cousins, David Drewski, Anthony Stolars, Colin McDonald, Danik Martel, Carlo Koliakova, Jacob Voracek, Peter Straka, Mark Streit, Steve Mason, Scott Lawton, LeCavier, Shen, Simmons, McDonald, Tiemann, Cole Bardreau, R.J. Umberger, Radko Gudas, Sam Gagne, Mark Alt, Braden Shen, Sean Couturier, Nick Grossman, Chris Connor, Ray Emery, Nick Schultz, and Tyrell Goulbourne.
Thank you, Ronald.
All right, I have a really quick take on that. I remember at the time I was super high on Peter Straka, and it shows how well Ron Hextall has done with our prospect pool.
Exactly.
Do you guys remember Jason Atkinson?
I was going to mention him, Jason Atkinson.
The penalty he got against the Rangers.
Yep, cost us the series, but it's okay. I remember. Okay. Yeah, but he scored that game too. But I mean, that
and then
just
that picture that surfaced about him. Oh boy.
Yeah. But that team back then compared to now, it's just not even. I mean, this team now, like the Flyers are a good team. Like they have the right pieces, the right players. I'm a little bit iffy on Hextall. I mean, the players know more than me. I'm not gonna give my opinion on him. Not saying I love him, not saying I hate him, but I do think there's better options. But This is the first year. I'll give him a lot of slack. This is the first year he's going to have a real team. So let's see what he does with them. Let's see how he plays the young guys that all of his pets are gone besides Solterra and Weiss, which please, hopefully, do not see more than 20 games each this year. But, yeah, I mean, I really believe that this team is miles ahead of where they were 2 years ago. And for a team to go from no top six, no prospects, nothing, to this, like to what we have now, I mean, right now we have a good team and we have good prospects. Like, you don't hear that often, and we have a first-round pick next year, which Hextall's not going to trade. So we're going to have even more prospects coming next year, and, I mean, it's just crazy. They're going to be a really good team. I mean, they already are a good team, but they're going to be a great team, and they're eventually going to be an elite team in the NHL. They're going to be one of those teams that every year is in the playoffs, every year is making a push. But, yeah, to go from the team we had 3 years ago to now, it's a miracle. That's what I'll end it.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Go ahead.
I think it's getting really hot right
Yeah, I think it is too. I think with that, we kind of have to wrap things up a little bit, but we can't wrap things up without our hot takes. So,
and you know what? I think we should save the best for last, obviously, because I say too many hot takes, and I don't think people want to hear any more of mine. So I actually want to hear Steven's hot take first.
You want to hear mine
okay.
first? Okay.
Yeah.
So here is my hot take, and I'm not sure how hot of a take this is. I don't know how you guys are going to react, but earlier in the show, to be specific and exact, when we were on player number 7 of our prospect countdown, if you remember, who you probably don't, Jay O'Brien. Okay, so my hot take is about Jay O'Brien. Now, kid looks like a stud. He could skate, he could dangle, he could shoot, he could hopefully win us a couple shootouts. I mean, he looks like he has the hands and the skill too. He has a great skill set. We'll see how he does in college this year. I don't want to get too far ahead of the boat. But here's my hot take. I'm gonna go with. Actually, I kind of have 2 hot takes mixed in one. I'm going to say Jay O'Brien is going to be Travis Konechny 2.0. I think he's going to be almost as good as Konechny, if not as good. And to go on with Konechny's Danny Briere 2.0. I mean, I can already see it, and I think it's going to continue like that. So I don't know if that's much of a hot take or if it's just hopefully facts, but I think that Jay O'Brien is going to be a pretty elite skater in the NHL, and he has the hands to finish goals when he gets on a breakaway. So that's my hot take for the episode.
Jake, what do you got?
Well, I've been like flip-flopping this whole time. Earlier I said Line was going to be like the number 1 goalie by the end of the year, or Hart was. But I think Anthony Stolarz wins 20 games as a Phantom and 10 games as a Flyer this year.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, who knows, man? I know it's a hot take, my opinion. I mean, I just want Carter Hart, man, but I don't want him to be rushed. But yeah, I do think that Stolarz can possibly turn a lot of heads as a hot take and pass that line. I mean, I could see that happening, and it's not that I expect it to happen, but I could see that happening. Good hot take.
All right, I guess that leaves me.
Mr. Hot Take.
And you know what? I think mine might be safe, might not be, but I'm gonna. And I flipped mine a couple times here too, but it's not the one I sent in the group chat earlier. Mine is that Morgan Frost will lead the NHL in goals one year, and yeah, and I'm going to eventually buy a Ratcliffe jersey.
Ooh. Lead the NHL in goals.
You scared me. When you said Morgan Frost is going to lead the NHL in goals, I thought you were talking about this year, and I was like, is this kid definitely on something?
I was about to end the episode.
No. I'm not that out there. I've kind of learned from the first episode already with the Philly Carolina series.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be right about the Philly Carolina series, but
yeah,
I hope you're right about the Morgan Frost leading the NHL in goals, because that would be absolutely insane. I mean, wow, that's I did not think I'd hear that one come out of your mouth, because that's something that I actually want to happen. Unlike Brandon Manning being played as like a 4th line left wing. So yeah, that's all we got for you guys for this episode. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter and make sure you leave us your hot takes. Make sure you leave us your questions and everything over on our pinned tweet, or just tweet it at us or message us anything over there. But follow us on Twitter at Bullies on Broad. Follow us on Instagram at BulliesOnBroad_. As always, I was your host, Steven. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean1Couturier. You can follow Jake on Twitter at JMCHVGH. And you can follow Austin or Mr. Hot Take himself on Twitter at DoFromage78.
Yeah, see if you can come up with a hotter take than I do.
See if you can and comment it so we can talk about it on the next episode. But I want to thank you guys for watching and listening. And yeah, I think this is a lot longer of an episode than I anticipated, but we will have
Two-parter.
Yeah, it was, but we will have another episode next week about the future of the Flyers and actually next season, maybe a preview, an alpha preview. We'll see, but it's going to be about the team next year, and I'm pretty excited for it. There's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, and hopefully we have a lot of interesting questions to talk about from you guys. But thank you guys for listening to this podcast. Make sure you follow all of our social medias to keep up to date with us, and have a great week, Philly. Thanks for listening.